I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. I need a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to certify closed session that only the items discussed in closed session were those items in the enabling motion and those items that are in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Alvin?
Aye.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Mr. Ivor?
Yes.
Ms. Woolsey?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. We have one motion out of closed session.
I would like to long-term suspend student A through the current academic year and at the beginning of the next academic year.
Second.
Any just a moment, please. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Alvin?
Aye.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
No.
Mr. Ivor?
Yes.
Ms. Woolsey?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, board members. Next item on our agenda is honors, awards, and recognition. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Superintendent Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. It's great to see all of our teachers and our young folks in the audience this evening. This is a meeting that we always look forward to. I'm going to ask Dr. Graham if she would come and preside at the dais, and Mr. Jones and I are going to go down and do the honors.
There's a young lady out there that looks like my granddaughter.
At this time, we will begin with our honors, recognitions, and awards. We will vary just slightly from the agenda. A couple of our seniors of the month need to be a little bit late. So we're going to start with our reading awards first, and I'm going to ask Judy Borelski to come forward and introduce those awards. She will introduce 2 reading awards. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. I'd like Rhonda Baker, principal of Bellevue Elementary, to come forward to accept on behalf of Bellevue the Exemplary Reading Program Award from the International Reading Association. This International Reading Association award recognizes one school in the state of Virginia for having an exemplary reading program. The award was presented at the Virginia State Reading Association Conference in Virginia Beach on April 19th, 2013. There you are.
All right.
If you don't mind, could I just ask the people that are from Bellevue to stand tonight so that, because
Yes.
it's their honor as well.
Yes.
So, Bellevue,
Please stand.
Was that one school in the state of Virginia that you said?
One school in the state of Virginia.
Right.
Yes.
I want to emphasize that.
Next, it's my pleasure to recognize Wendy Phillips, reading teacher at Bellevue Elementary, as the recipient of the Reading Teacher of the Year Award of the New River Valley. Wendy, will you come forward? She too was honored at the Virginia State Reading Association Conference.
Our next awards will be presented by Nelson Simpkins, who's going to share with us the Teacher of the Year recognitions.
Thanks, Dr. Grimm, members of the board. It's indeed my pleasure to recognize the Virginia Teacher of the Year. It provides the opportunity for the Commonwealth of Virginia to recognize the best and brightest individuals in teaching. Each year, schools are offered the opportunity to participate in the program. We're pleased to announce Montgomery County's Teachers of the Year for each of their schools at this time. It's my pleasure to announce our elementary school winners first in alphabetical order. They'll be followed by our secondary school winners. I will conclude our recognitions by announcing Montgomery County Public Schools Teacher of the Year, who will move on to the regional level of the state competition. I'd also like to acknowledge and express our sincere appreciation of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce for their strong support of our Teacher of the Year program. The Chamber will join our school division at our annual opening school convocation gathering in August to recognize our Teacher of the Year for this high honor. At this time, I'd like to ask, as I call the names of the elementary school Teacher of the Years, to come forward. First, Auburn Elementary, Diane Mazur, Art Education. She could not be with us tonight. Next, Bellevue Elementary Teacher of the Year, Robin Bibb, 2nd grade. Thank you. The Christiansburg Primary Teacher of the Year, Connie Bryant, Reading Recovery and Title I. Christiansburg Elementary, Amy Briel, 5th grade. Eastern Montgomery Elementary, Jenny Conrad, 4th grade math and science. Falling Branch Elementary, Rebecca Lowe, art education. Gilbert Linkus Elementary, Kim Dickerson, 3rd grade. Our next two recipients could not be with us. Harding Avenue Elementary, Jennifer Baldwin, guidance, and Kipps Elementary, Glenn Chilcote, for music. Margaret Beeks Elementary, Mandy Monk, 5th grade. Price's Fork Elementary, Jane Ann Wells, 2nd grade. Moving to our middle schools, Auburn Middle School, J. Ann Bridges, 6th grade science. Auburn High School Teacher of the Year, Paul Graham, could not be with us tonight. Blacksburg Middle School, Sandra Sim, 8th grade English. I'm going alphabetically high and middle by strand. Blacksburg High School, Mr. Bradley Kraft, social studies. Christiansburg Middle School, Betsy Osborne, 8th grade social studies. Christiansburg High School, Mandy Townley, choral music, fine arts. She couldn't be with us tonight. She has a program going on right now. Shawsville Middle School, Janet Booth, business education. And Eastern Montgomery High School, Kelly Smith Price, art education. Mr. Bradley Kraft is Montgomery County Public School Teacher of the Year for 2013. He is a graduate of Christopher Newport University and has been an educator in Montgomery County for 5 years and teaches classes such as Advanced Placement, Virginia and U.S. History, and World History and Geography at Blacksburg High School. Mr. Kraft was presented the Fulbright Hayes Scholar Award in 2010, the Claus Nobel Educator of Distinction in 2008, the Virginia Teacher of Promise in 2008, and received the Robert M. Ursey Award for undergraduate research in history in 2007. His colleagues say there's just nothing about Brad that isn't a teacher. He's invested, passionate, excited, and energized in and by his classes, all aspects of his classes. He's reflective, thoughtful, and innovative in his approaches, and any student who sets foot in his classroom is lucky to be there. His students love him. He's tough, but he's fair. He's smart, he's entertaining, and he never gives up on any student. Students learn their curriculum, but they have fun doing it. His principal, Mr. Kitts, says that Mr. Kraft is an inspiration to us all. He truly embodies what every parent wants for their child, a quality and meaningful learning experience. He's most deserving of this prestigious honor, and we're proud to have him as a member of the Bruin family. Brad and his wife, Jess, if you're here, if you'd stand up, please, and be recognized. They live in Christiansburg with their 2 cats, Otto and Hero. It's my great pleasure to present to you the 2013 Montgomery County Public Schools Teacher of the Year, Mr. Bradley Kraft. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm usually much more fluent at this when I'm doing a lecture, but thank you very much. I mean, it's a very humbling honor to be recognized and to be standing with a lot of educators who I know are just as passionate as I am. I mean, it's just a very, very humbling honor. So thank you very much.
At this time, if Diane Knapp would come forward to introduce the Region 6 Outstanding Gifted Teacher Award.
If Jane Collins would come forward, please. And we have with Jane this evening, we have her husband, Elwood. I believe her sister is here, and there's some other members of the gifted staff, if they would stand as well. Very pleased to announce that Jane Collins is Region 6 Gifted Teacher of the Year for the Virginia Association for the Gifted. And Jane serves the students at Gilbert Lincas Elementary and Kipps Elementary. And we say serve those students because that encompasses the students, the teachers that serve them, and also the parents that are very proud of all those students. Jane's also served as a teacher here in the county and then worked at Harding and also Margaret Beeks, so she's been all around. I am pleased, everything that was written about Jane was just how she just has a passion for students, and she continues to have that throughout her career. I interviewed a student from her classroom just as part of the process of identifying students, and at the end we asked the students, is there a question that you would like me to ask you that I haven't asked you? So I asked a young primary student, well, what question would you like? And he said, you didn't ask me what day of the week I like best. What's my best part about school? And I said, okay, what's the best part about school? He said, Wednesday. I said, well, what's so special about Wednesday? That's the day I get to be in Miss Collins' class. So it's a testament to her work with those students. Congratulations, Jane. Thank you.
If Rick Weaver would come forward, he will announce the recognition for Career and Technical Student Organization state winners.
I'm going to introduce several state winners in career and technical education activities this year and one state officer. I'm going to start with Blacksburg Middle School. Miss Stephanie Crawford is the teacher. If you'll come forward, please, Stephanie. And her students are in 3 different teams. I'll introduce the first team in video game design. They were first place in video game design. Jonah Fike was unable to be with us at the last minute. Jeff Shin, come on up please, Jeff. Davis Snyder could not be here. Tiger Sun. And Arifianto, I don't believe was here when I last checked. I don't think he has come in. So these are the first place winners in video game design. I have your certificates for you. I'll distribute them to you at the back of the room when we're done. Thank you very much. The second team that Ms. Crawford sponsored, who won first place at the state, is the Global Manufacturing Team. And I believe David Case is the member of the team who is here tonight. His partner was Arifianto. Congratulations, David. Thank you. And the third and final team under this heading is the transportation competition. And I don't think Elijah made it. He is in a band concert tonight and said he would be here if he got out in time. So I don't think he got here either. But thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Some additional first place winners in career and technical education competition at the state level. In architectural drafting, a Skills USA contest, Rachel McCoy at Blacksburg High School was the first place winner. Her teacher is Mr. Jim Irby, neither of whom could be here tonight because they're in Roanoke accepting another award. So we will send them for congratulations. We have one state officer in Skills USA this year. The Skills USA State Secretary for 2012-13, Lexi Butler. Lexi, I haven't seen Mrs. Price. Is she here? I don't think she is. Okay. Apparently Mrs. Price was unable to make it. Lexi not only is this year's secretary, but I understand you've been elected to an office next year. Yes, to be determined. You will be a state officer of some title again next year, correct? Yes, sir. Congratulations. One more team, career and technical education team at the state level, is the DECA State Leadership Conference BHS School-Based Enterprise Team. A mouthful. We have 2 of those 3 team members here tonight with their teacher, Kim Radford. We have Alexis Osamani. I'm sorry, Alexis. Osamani. I thought I had that. And Emily Mertis. Their third team member who could not be here tonight was Kara Woodward. Congratulations, ladies. And finally, from Christiansburg High School, Skills USA Cosmetology Contest at the state level, Rebecca Polly was the first place winner. Rebecca's teacher, Selena Ratliff at Christiansburg High School, and neither of them could attend this evening. So congratulations to Rebecca on this first place win. And I'm not sure this last item is on your agenda, but we had a call yesterday from a teacher and student from Blacksburg High School. I would like Gillen Beck to come forward, please. Gillen is in the pre-engineering program under Mr. Jim Irby at Blacksburg High School, and he and his classmates have made a thank you gift for the board and the superintendent. He would like to distribute those. These were made on a computer, numerically controlled machine in their classroom. They designed and machined these for you and would like to say thank you with this present for your support of their program at Blacksburg High School. and for your support of career and technical education in general. Thank you on behalf of Nick Gillen and his class.
At this time, if Mary Fain will come forward, she will share Creative Writing Awards at the state level.
Okay, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Blacksburg High School's Matt Spring, who is the coach of our state champion Virginia High School League Creative Writing team, and he's going to introduce the team.
Okay, I think most of the team couldn't make it, but our first place people I told were going to be here. So Faith Clary placed first in poetry for her poem Identity. So if she would come up. And our other first place winner was Philip Huang with his essay for Synthesis. So both of these were first place winners, and then the team won also, and I was told that the other team members were not going to be here, but they are Genda Smith and Sarah McCartney, and who's our other one? Oh, Cyrus Tafty. He won second. So.
One comment on that, Matt, you forgot to mention that you were the only school in the state to receive an overall superior rating, is that correct? The only school in the state, yes.
This time, Judy Borelski will join us again to present the Fine Arts Awards.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce a group of talented young men and women who have earned music and art awards at the state and national level. First, we will recognize music awards. I'd like to invite Charlotte McKee, Blacksburg Middle School Choral Director, Lindsay Wilson, Blacksburg High School Choral Director, and Sharon Anderson, Auburn High School Band Director, to come forward to help hand out certificates. Oh, we'll do them at the end? Okay. Well, let me just introduce these ladies. You know what? So now I will introduce the awards and the students. American Choral Directors Association, ASCDA, National Junior High Honor Choir from Blacksburg Middle School, John Caudle and Emily Hoops. ACDA National Children's Honor Choir from Blacksburg Middle School, Emily Peacock and Asher Quisenberry. And from Margaret Beeks Elementary, Oliver Peacock. Virginia ACDA All-State Middle School Honor Choir from Blacksburg Middle School, Nia Hudite. High School All-State Choir from Blacksburg High School, Taylor Quisenberry. State Honors Choir from Blacksburg High School, Jessica Vance. All Virginia Concert Band from Blacksburg High School, Jeff Ritchie, and from Auburn High School, Max Tomlin. All Virginia Orchestra from Blacksburg High School, Vincent Tam. Our last group of music honorees and their teacher, Mandy Townley, are unable to attend because they're performing at their spring concert tonight. But let me recognize them anyway. All Virginia Chorus from Christiansburg High School, Jessica Watson, Nicholas Restrepo, Shelby Walters, Luke Williams, Anna Makarova, and Preston Latimer. So let's give them a hand anyway. And Virginia Music Educators Association Honor Choir from Christiansburg High School, Jessica Watson, Nicholas Restrepo, Caleb Caldwell, and Christopher Poff. So. These are our music awards. Now I'll recognize our art awards and Turnabout's Fair Play, so I'm going to ask Jessica Pace Berkeley to also come down and join us because she's put a lot of work, I believe, into the students and their awards. And again, as I announce the students' names, please come forward. So for art, we have Virginia School Board Association Regional Art First Place in the middle school that was awarded last year. We frame it the following year. However, our recipient is unable to be here tonight, Allison Palmer. I think she has a soccer game tonight. And then this year's Virginia School Board Association Art First Place in High School Division to be honored tonight, but then work returned next year, is Layla Karan. National Scholastic Art Award, Silver Key, Senior Portfolio for 10 works from Blacksburg High School. Guess who? Layla Karan again. Regional Scholastic Art Award, American Vision Award from Blacksburg High School, Hannah Park. Regional Scholastic Art Award, Gold Key from Blacksburg High School, Caitlin Stepp, Veronica Cortez, Nick Walsh, Holly Massey, Haley Porth, Cheyenne Clevenger, and Layla Corinne. Oh, wait a minute. I think I stopped too soon. Let me make certain some of these other students may be here as well. Deanna Thompson, Holly Arsenal, Jessie Go, Charlotte Cannon, Heather Amtower, and Vera Villanove. Anybody here? Yeah. And the list goes on. There's also, let me get Verity O'Connell and Sage Lally and Stephen Millette and Hannah Park and Emily Briggs and David Yawn and Aaron Weitzel. And these are all Regional Scholastic Art Award Gold Key honors. Regional Scholastic Art Award Silver Key from Blacksburg High School, Rachel Banks, Haley Porth, Julia Luhoff, Nick Walsh, Sam Robinson, Veronica Cortez, Carrie Gilbore, Aditi Islam, Sarah Fortier, Christy Prater, and Heidi Arsenal. Regional Scholastic Silver Key Award from Blacksburg High School, Cecilia Cortez and Courtney Steck. And our final art recognition is the PTSO Reflections First Place Regional to Penelope Vorster from Blacksburg High School.
Our final recognitions tonight, Nelson Simpkins will share Seniors of the Month.
Since the inception of our Senior of the Month recognition program 25 years ago, we've enjoyed celebrating the successes of outstanding students. This agenda item is always a special highlight of our board meeting. Tonight, our May recognitions will be the final selections for this special honor for the 2012-13 school year. In their own words, our recipients will recall special highlights of their high school days. Some of them may have participated in sports, some may have been involved in debate, drama, band, chorus, forensics, newspaper, yearbook, or theater. Some may remember a very special field trip experience or their participation in a service club project. Their participation in these activities has helped them develop important skills and attributes such as teamwork, self-discipline, respect for others, dedication, and time management during their high school career. Their involvement in academics and activities has helped each student mature and become more expressive, confident, and outspoken. Their photos and leadership profiles are displayed in the rear just outside of our meeting room. I encourage everyone to stop by and celebrate their successes as you leave the meeting tonight. Now it's my pleasure to recognize our high school principals who will call our students forward. Our Auburn High School recipient tonight is attending an FFA banquet and cannot be here. Miss Amanda Widener, Assistant Principal of Blacksburg High School, will lead us off tonight, followed by Dr. Kevin Sears, Principal of Christiansburg High School, and Mr. Danny Knott, Principal of Eastern Montgomery High School. Ms. Widener.
Good evening, Superintendent Blackburn, Chairman Jones, members of the board, and members of the audience. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight as I am proud to introduce Blacksburg High School's Senior of the Month for May 2013, Mr. Jeff Ritchie. Jeff will be escorted tonight by his mother and father, Connie and Denny, and at this time I'm going to ask all of them to come forward. In his own words, Jeff says his friends would characterize him as a mentor who will try and help with anything he can in any way he can. The most meaningful activity Jeff has engaged in during his 4 years at Blacksburg High School has been playing in the band. He says, "I have made many friends that have helped me in one way or another. The people in that group give me a lot of advice that has helped me improve my playing." During his 4 years at Blacksburg High School, Jeff says he has learned to be confident. He has developed appropriate social skills in different settings. He has learned how to work in a group and how to lead and mentor other students. He says, "Being part of the band has allowed me to develop leadership behaviors as well as time management skills." Jeff continues, "I still have time to study between practicing and playing in various bands in the community." Jeff says the most unforgettable experience while in high school was when he found out he earned second bass trombone in the All-State Virginia Band his sophomore year. He says that was awesome. He says the shock and joy are unforgettable. Jeff says he sees himself teaching music in a middle school or high school setting in the future. He says, "I've had many great teachers at Blacksburg High School. They were entertaining, interesting, and challenged me to think. My experiences at Blacksburg High School have helped me to realize what kind of teacher I want to be." Congratulations to Jeff Ritchie for being selected as Blacksburg High School's Senior of the Month for May 2013. Jeff is an outstanding young man and very deserving of this honor, and Jeff, we wish you much success.
Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Blackburn. It is my pleasure to introduce Christiansburg High School's final Senior of the Month for the 2012-2013 school year. At this time, I would like to ask that Andrew K. Bradshaw and his parents, David and Carrie Bradshaw, join me at the front of the room. These are Andrew's own words to describe his high school experience. My friends would describe me as someone who is outgoing, polite, and formal in public. They always see me as someone who goes out and talks to many parents or other adults and carries on a long dialogue. I think they also see me as someone with great ambition in life with many challenging goals. I participated in campaigning for the Republican Party in the 2012 election. It was a task that I placed myself in that took many hours. I worked every day knocking on doors and talking to constituents. It was meaningful because I learned how to campaign and I learned that nothing is a sure win. I developed many positive attributes in my high school tenure. Among those were polishing my social skills when talking to people. This will help me throughout my whole life. Also, I learned how to manage activities. I helped plan prom and several senior class events. These involved developing time management skills and planning with various people. The most unforgettable experience in high school was the entire experience. I cannot pinpoint one moment in my time that was the greatest because there have been so many. I've been blessed to have such a great experience and family and friends that have been supportive of my goals and achievements. In 10 years, I see myself as a graduate of Virginia Military Institute with a degree serving this nation in the armed forces, protecting the world from the dangers that we face. I want to do that because we live in a dangerous world, and I would lay down my life to keep the U.S. citizens safe because America is worth dying for. I always like to throw in something personal with each senior, and I'll just say with Andrew, I suspected his political aspirations were sincere when he showed up on July 2nd, my first day, to meet me dressed in a suit and tie and handed me his business card. I am certain that they are sincere after I found out that his potential prom dates had to undergo a 7-point background check. At this time, it's my pleasure to present to you Christiansburg High School Senior of the Month for May, President Andrew Bradshaw.
Ms. Blackburn, Mr. Jones, members of the board, it's my privilege tonight to introduce to you Anna Hudson, Eastern Montgomery High School Senior of the Month for May. Anna is accompanied tonight by her parents, Chris and Lee Hudson. If they would join me, please. These are Anna's words. I believe my friends would characterize me as compassionate and outgoing. I am quick to forgive, and I am also very dependable. When something needs to be done, I work as hard as I can to accomplish the task, and I enjoy being creative in my everyday activities. I also think most of my friends would describe me as a person with an eye for fashion. I'm a happy person who always has a smile on my face. This is true even at 7:30 in the morning when she's coming to school. Just recently, I attended an Interact field trip to the Isaac Walton Outdoor Classroom. With about 10 of our other club members, we painted the interior sections of the classrooms. Within the 5 or so hours we were there, we completed painting one whole room and almost all of the second. This was meaningful to me because we revived the building and it will be used to teach children in the future. It was also important because it was one of my last field trips with my good friends. I learned to be patient with others while on this trip. Seeing as my dad is quite handy with painting, he taught me how to paint correctly. Let me just say that on this field trip, we painted so far from correctly, but it was fun, and in the end, it didn't look half bad. Over the 4 years I have spent at Eastern Montgomery High School, I've gained confidence in myself and schoolwork. When I was younger, English was never my best subject. With the wonderful English teachers I have had, who pushed me to my fullest potential, English has become one of my top grades almost every semester, and I have become more confident in the subject. One of my other favorite subjects, art, has taught me more than I could imagine. My amazing teacher, Ms. Smith Price, has pushed my artistic ability farther than I ever imagined it going. My whole senior year has been wonderful. Homecoming week was definitely one of my top unforgettable experiences at Eastern Montgomery. I dressed up for every theme day of homecoming week, and I had a blast at the homecoming football game where the Mustangs took the win against one of our top rivals. The following night, I danced like crazy with all of my friends at the homecoming dance. Working with the yearbook staff and taking pictures for the yearbook was something I enjoyed as well. Working on the senior mural with two of my good friends has been great. I am sure I will have more unforgettable experiences to come with these next few weeks or few days of my final year in high school. Senior year will definitely be unforgettable. In 10 years, I see myself graduated from Christopher Newport University with a bachelor's degree in marketing. I expect to be working in the fashion industry with my photography business as a sideline, with the goal of becoming a fashion photographer. I hope to be married if the right person comes along. Eastern Montgomery High School has prepared me for the future by providing an educational foundation that will allow me to pursue my dreams. One thing that Anna didn't mention is she is quite the accomplished equestrian, and this afternoon I was told when she got here, she, at about 5 o'clock, was watching a pony being born at the barn, Bent Tree Farms in Shawsville. Anna's a very, very talented young lady, and I know she's going to do well in the future. Congratulations, Anna.
We're so proud to have such a wealth of talented students and teachers. At this time, we would like to take a 10-minute break so that the board may take time to congratulate the winners tonight. Thank you very much.
It was evident that regardless of what you read and regardless of what you hear at this dais, we do a lot of wonderful things in Montgomery County Public Schools, and these students tonight were a testament to the hard work and dedication of our staff and of our teachers and the success that our students achieve in Montgomery County. And I thank you for your efforts for everything we saw tonight as far as the recognitions. Next item on our agenda is public address. The board sets aside 3 minutes, a maximum of 30 minutes with a maximum of 3 minutes per citizen to address the board on items of educational interest. And at this time, we have 7 people signed up, and the first person signed up is Susan Miller. If you will please step forward, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Susan Miller, and I live at 3065 Mud Pike Road in Montgomery County. Regarding the new middle school document that was proposed to the school board, there's an abundance of information for all to read what you received for this board meeting and try to process. This new document explaining the middle school model is much clearer picture of what may be happening as opposed to the documents presented to the board on February the 19th. The February the 19th documents were nebulous and lacked any concrete information as to what might be happening in the schools. The difference is really incredible, and yet the school board was asked to vote on the middle school schedule that was vague and with little consideration for what the ultimate impact would be. Also, health is not mentioned anywhere. If in the new plan there are options to be taught as an elective, what training will be offered to the health and physical education staff? If new and different strategies are to be expected, where will the monetary support come from? For other new courses, programs offered by Montgomery County Public School, hours of training and money for matching equipment and supplies were always provided. For health and physical education, there are all kinds of exciting programs that can be taught to 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, but equipment, supplies, and administrative support need to be an integral part of this new endeavor. Examples include kickboxing, skateboarding, inline skating, which 2 middle schools already do at a cost. Geocaching, fly fishing, CrossFit, which is a trademark program requiring training at $800 per person, Equipment purchase would also be required. One principal has suggested some of these options, but no financial support for materials and training were included. I am very concerned about the lack of trust between administrators and health and physical education staff, as well as music and art, as we have stumbled through this process. Many of the health and physical education staff feel that they have been had. Me too. This has not been a grassroots effort. Teachers categorically have indicated that they were brought in on the very last meeting held at the school board administrators and were told that this was what will happen. This is a schedule we will use. There was no input from stakeholders. I cannot ask my friends to stand up and speak to what really happened and lose their jobs or their job status. How can I challenge the information presented? School personnel were not involved in planning. They were told that this is the model we will use. What a sad commentary. I hope that somehow this disconnect can be corrected for the sake of the children, the teachers, and the administrators who have created a chasm filled with distrust in Montgomery County Public Schools. I will continue gathering information. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up is Sarah Boyle.
My name is Sarah Boyle, 1360 Nilly's Cave Road, and I'm a rising 7th grader. Good evening. My name is Sarah Boyle. I was informed a couple weeks ago that next year is going to be a little different. And with it being different, we may not have gym at all or only 1 or 2 times a week. I think this is a very bad problem. The reason that we have gym is mostly to keep all the kids healthy. All over the country, kids are obese. The reason gym helps these overweight kids is it gives them a fun way to lose weight and get active. Personally, I love exercising for the most part. It makes me feel strong and it relieves a lot of my stress and frustration. I am fortunate enough to play sports outside of gym, but some kids only have gym class to get their exercise. All kids need at least 60 minutes of a workout or some kind of physical activity each day. So in order to stay healthy, all of us need just this one period of exercise. Also, when kids are active, they are much better in school. Studies show that kids have 40% higher test scores, better concentration and attention, and improved attendance and discipline. In high school, once you reach your junior year, you don't have to participate in gym anymore. I think that is okay because they are almost adults, so they should be responsible for knowing that they need to exercise daily. For middle school students, however, they may not know how to do that. Or they may not have a parent or guardian to make sure they exercise daily. Gym is really the only time they get to work that they get to exercise. Another reason is it's fun. Kids sometimes need a break from all the work from all their other classes. We at least get one period to have fun and be active. I think that's one of the most important and fun periods of the day. I realize that some kids don't like gym because of fitness testing, but that's just what you've got to do to stay healthy. And people complain about the fitness testing, but if I look back over this school year, it was very fun. Also, if you know about the First Lady, which I assume all of you do, she has a program called Let's Move. It is all about getting kids to exercise and stay healthy. Another thing is gym might introduce you to sports that you've never tried before. We play all different sports, and some we may like and some not so much. Overall, it's a great way to get kids active and have fun for that one period of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person signed up is Logan Gillespie.
Hello, my name is Logan Gillespie, and I go to Blacksburg Middle School in 7th grade. I live at 701 Hidden Valley Drive in Blacksburg, VA. Gym is one of my favorite classes of the day at school. In my opinion, I really think that we shouldn't make PE elective or cut it out, especially because some kids may need it a lot. You usually need about 60 minutes of physical exercise a day, and if it wasn't for gym, some kids wouldn't get the exercise they need. I know that when I have like sports seasons and they're over, I need gym to get the physical exercise I need. Some people think that PE may hurt you, but that is not the case. It in fact helps you, not hurts you. It isn't just a class that helps you, it actually can make you be more healthy. Physical fitness doesn't affect your education either. In a study of 214 sixth grade students in Michigan found that they who were not in PE had the same standardized test scores as the students that were in PE. Another study was with 311 fourth graders in 2 different schools. They found that students who received 56 or more hours of physical education per school year scored higher on the test than the students who exercised for only 28 hours. Today, obesity is a major health crisis. The obesity for children 12 to 19 years had tripled from the early 1970s and 2007 to 2008. In the early 1970s, it was 6%, and in 2007 to 2008, it was 18%. That is why we need to keep gym. With all the technology, laziness, and junk food, most children don't get the exercise they really need. That is why obesity can be so bad. So please consider this and don't cut or give the choice for school gym. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next person signed up is Mike Miller.
Hello, I'm Mike Miller, 270 Reagan Drive, Christiansburg, Virginia. Thanks for letting me talk. This is my little man, and he wanted to speak, but he's a little bit nervous. So anyway, he said that I could use some of his 3 minutes if I go over a little bit. Is that okay?
You have 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. I started out when I was in basic training. I had a drill sergeant that had me up in a bay, had the window down because I was a new squad leader, and after about 30 minutes, I was sweating, just wearing me out, just physically, mentally, probably what you would consider hazing nowadays, but was probably turning me into a man that day. And I remember him looking at me and saying to me, "Sharp body, sharp mind, soldier." He says, "We have got to learn to challenge our bodies or your brain's going to go to waste. Do you understand me?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And I think that kind of led me down the course that I've went down. I love being an educator. I love it. I spent 12 years at Shawsville Middle School. This is my first year at Kipps Elementary School, and I love working with children. And, there's 2 things in life I do not want to fail at. I do not want to fail at being a parent, and I do not want to fail at being an educator. And I think that if I didn't show up tonight and spoke my mind, that I would be failing in both these categories. I wanted to add that, the military, the FBI, the CIA, all these companies are now implementing wellness, fitness things because the studies are showing that it increases your cognitive abilities, your study, your focus. So a lot of companies are really working on this. There are 55,235,000 students in the United States K through 12. There's 2.2 million people in prisons. People that are in prisons are given an hour a day to exercise, to keep down their stress levels, in order to keep down the violence. What's going to happen when we take that time away from our students? They're going to be frustrated. They're going to take out their aggression, their built-up anger in different ways. They're going to take it out as bullying, physical violence. You take the PE out of our schools, you're going to see an extreme increase in the number of violent things that happens in our schools, the bullying, the treatment, people with built-up frustration because they don't get to go and do something for an hour a day. They're not well-rounded students. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
You're fine.
So, I taught structured break for summer school for several years. They started a structured...
Mr. Miller, your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next person signed up is Connie Froggett.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. My name is Connie Froggett, and I reside at 1751 Brush Mountain Creek Road. And tonight I'm speaking strictly from the parent perspective. There were a lot of things said at the last school board meeting about what this board should and should not be mandating, and about what constitutes a middle school model and what constitutes a high school model. As a parent who has just put 2 children through middle and high school in Blacksburg, I would like to comment on that. In elementary school, you don't have a lot of choice about what you study. It's determined by the standards set forth by the state and how the school implements those standards. You do math when your teacher says to do math. You go to music and art and guidance and PE and the library according to the schedule set by the school. And you go to recess every chance you get. High school is just the opposite. It's all about choice. You are mandated to take the classes determined by the state for either a standard or advanced studies diploma, and everything else is electives. Middle school is a combination of these models. Most of your classes are determined by the state standards and county policies, but you start getting some choices about a few of your classes. All the middle school schedules proposed for next year meet or exceed those state standards. What little that's left constitutes your electives. If this board decides to require more than what the state mandates, not only are you taking the decision out of the hands of the people you hired to make those decisions, but you're also taking choices away from the students and parents who are in the best position to decide what's best for their child. Also, by eliminating choice in middle school, you're not making it more like high school, as one board member suggested, you're making it more like elementary school. Middle schoolers deserve the right to choose whether they want more PE or more fine arts. They should have the ability, especially in 8th grade, to take a full year of foreign language and advanced band if they want to. That choice should be theirs, not yours. Please don't take it away from them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person signed up is Charlotte McKee.
Dear Ms. Blackburn and members of the school board, I understand the budget issues and the need to reduce spending, but I'm very concerned that the middle school students will be the losers in the current new schedule. Not only will these students not have PE every day, the vast majority will also not have their fine arts elective every day. In a music performance class, it's extremely important for the students to learn to work together as an ensemble or a music team. Just as students in kindergarten and older learn to read words, sentences, and eventually books, students studying music learn to read the language of music. It's a different set of symbols written on the page that show pitch, silence, and rhythm, which is short and long sounds. Music is another language. It's an international language that needs consistency and constant practice and reinforcement in order for the individual to become proficient in their music reading and performance skills, regardless of the instrument, vocal or instrumental. Students need a strong foundation right from the start. As they build upon their music reading and pitch accuracy skills, the students work as an ensemble, listening to the other voices, blending with each other instead of being louder than the rest of the ensemble. They learn to accurately read and interpret the conductor's gestures. They learn to harmonize, improvise, and listen to balance all of the parts. They analyze what they, both individually and as an ensemble, are doing correctly and incorrectly, and what they can do to make their performance better and more musical. All of these skills help the students learn to work with others, and many of them relate to or even strengthen their work in their other subject areas. Research has shown that students who study music do better in their other classes. Please do not cut back the instruction time for music education for the middle school students. This age group is going through major physical and emotional changes. They need an outlet to learn to express themselves in a positive and productive way. There are many students who stay in school because of their involvement in music or any of the other fine arts. Please reconsider the proposed schedule that will only provide middle school students half a year of music instruction spread across a full school year, instead of this county's tradition of a strong and supported full year of music education for students at the secondary level. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes all that have signed up at this time. If there's anyone that would like to address the board at this time, please step forward and state your name and address.
Greetings. My name is Karen Connor, and I live at 400 Woodbine Drive in Blacksburg. I've lived in Blacksburg for 5 years. Times are tough financially all around. This is old news. We are all becoming very experienced in eliminating whatever we can in budgets of all kinds. You can ask my children. Tonight, I want to challenge you to how to be better stewards of our taxpayer money and also share my thoughts. I have a rising 11th grader and a rising 5th grader. I am just completing my 4th year of substitute teaching for our county, and the majority of my days are spent working at Blacksburg Middle School. So I know that school very, very, very well, and I have a unique perspective. My heart has been cringing in recent days as I envision the changes that are going to occur at BMS next year. And I know this school and I know the kids so well, and they will all tell you that that is true. The increased class size is going to greatly change the students' experience. It is old news now that teachers are asked now to do more with less time. For sure, the depths of assignments will change, along with the relationships between students and teachers. We all were once middle school students, and we know it's a rough time. I have a special affinity for them, and I love them. The ones who will suffer the most, you guys, are the kids that are on the fringe, the ones that are at risk. They need a little more personal attention and support. Those kids are my favorites, and you know what? They're going to suffer with this because in a class of 25 kids, it's going to be rough. We eliminate luxuries when money is tight, and so it seems that 2 planning periods and teaming was a luxury that none of us realized. I didn't live here at the time, but I've heard that there was a lot of thought and a lot of planning that went into the planning of that building on Price's Fork Road for the middle school, suggesting and designing a building that worked really well for this age group, team planning. And so it's interesting to me that that's kind of being thrown out. I saw that work for my son when he was in 6th and 7th grade. And I have a rising 5th grader. So what are other luxuries that can be eliminated? Today, I was surprised when I got online to look at the number of employees that we have at the central office. Have you taken a fine-tooth comb and looked carefully at who can do more work, at what jobs can be combined, at what can be truly eliminated? There are simple things like not sending out high-quality paper on things that are going out that are going to be thrown away anyway by the kids. And I also heard recently of 2 people being possibly hired as consultants, which I would say that is indeed a luxury. If you get rid of perceived luxuries at the teacher level, which in my opinion they are the most important, then we most certainly need to eliminate what I perceive to be luxuries at the administrative level. When we moved here 5 years ago, our realtor said to us, pointed out to us when we were driving around, oh, you know, that building over there is a bone of contention, and you all know which one that is. Shame on you that it's still out there, for crying out loud, and the high school on Price's Fork Road. I mean, those two, that money needs to go back to the schools, you guys. And as a high school parent, I just have to say I'm disappointed in the dismissal of Mr. Hurst last year. I'm disappointed in the rejection of the block schedule.
Your time is up.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? If so, please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing no one, public address is now closed. Next item on our agenda is the consent items. Anybody want to pull anything under the consent items for discussion? Hearing none, items approved on consent. Next item on the agenda is the personnel report. Need a motion to approve the personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the personnel report. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
May I make a statement?
Sure.
By your action in the personnel report this evening, you've approved the recommendation of a candidate for Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Dr. John Staten. I believe Dr. Staten's with us this evening. If you'd please stand, John, so that we could recognize you. Dr. Staten brings a broad array of experiences with us. Most recently, he spent a 2-year stint at the Pentagon, but he's ready to come back to public education, which is where his roots are, having been a teacher, an assistant principal, an HR director, and also ran other special programs in Clayton County, Georgia. So we look forward to having John join us on June 17th. Welcome, John.
Next item on the agenda is the financial summary report. I need a motion to approve the report.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on the financial report? All those in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The report is approved. Next item is payment of the bills. Need to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, any discussion on the bills? All those in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Bills are paid. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's reports, recommendations, and announcements. Ms. Blackburn.
Thank you. We're going to have our usual capital projects update, and we've got Bob and Tim from Skanska here this evening. Tim, are you going to be the spokesman this evening? Welcome.
Good evening, Ms. Blackburn and the board. Things, to say the least, things are busy at the schools.
Yeah.
So anyway, just push the, you going forward it or? Oops, wrong one. There we go. Construction in progress at the Auburn High School. You can see in the photos that the main entrance there on the left, a lot of that is now complete. They're actually doing the drive-it system on the outside of the building now at the soffits, and grading of the sidewalks and of the lawns is being taken care of right now. You can see on the right, the greenhouse in progress on the west side of the building, on the east side of the building. Things are moving along well there as well. Pictures here of the gym. This was taken about a week or so ago. Now they have the subfloor down for the gym flooring, and the wood is being laid out and conditioned into the space for install this week. On the right there, we have a finished area in the academic building of the, there's a collaboration area for the students there. Flooring's installed. Finished paint is going on as well in the academic building now, in the academic side, the classroom building. So things are progressing well. Project timeline at AHS. Site work will be continuing through July 16th. They're busily, like I said, pouring sidewalks and many other things right now and getting it to grade and getting some grass installed pretty quick. Punch list will start on July 5th. The contractor is already doing their pre-punch list now on the building, and above ceiling inspections are going on weekly. Temporary certificate of occupancy is for July 22nd. Owner furniture move-in will begin on July 23rd. School opens September 4th, and then final completion on November 4th. At the Blacksburg High School, busy as well. Here you can see the picture on the left, the main entrance to the high school, new high school. You can see the classroom building there and on the right, and then the gymnasium and things on the left. And I believe that's the tennis court, probably where the picture's taken from, somewhere up on the hill there. Things around the building progressing. They've already started putting topsoil down. Sidewalks are well underway. Blacksburg, also on the right, you can see the flooring going down in the hallways of the classroom wing. There on the left, we have a picture of the mock-up classroom room, where you can see the layout there. On the right, there's a science casework. It's one of the science rooms. The casework's installed in there. Timeline for BHS. The intersection that town of Blacksburg is working on, and those that's been driving around there can see the work going on. They're getting that turn lane put in. Punch list, the contractors have already started their pre-punch items, and the main punch list will start on July 6th. Classrooms and the administration side will, substantial completion is slated for July 22nd. Classroom wing furniture will begin on July 26th. The remaining areas of the school, substantial completion is August 14th. And the remaining areas of furniture will start on the 15th of August. School opens on September 4th, and then the final completion is November 6th. Some other activities, most of the furnishings and equipment for AHS and BHF have already been procured. The greenhouse construction is underway on both projects. Route 8 improvements started this week, and we're preparing for AMS construction start in early June.
Thank you, Tim.
Board members, questions, comments?
Is there a school person that goes through with you during the punch list? How does that work out?
We will do a punch list, and then Carl most likely will be the one that will walk through at Auburn, and I'm sure Mr. Kitts will be going through as well at the other high school at Blacksburg.
Besides Carl and Brian,
Facilities.
pardon me?
Dan
Dan
Baronata.
Is
Dan will walk,
That was, okay.
as well as architect and everyone, the
We're-
engineers.
We're talking about two educators going through a building for a punch list. That doesn't work well. So Dan will be with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Board members, any other questions? The Route 8 improvements, how are they coming up? I know we had some challenges there to start with that we got.
Yeah, they started actually this week installing the new sewer line that will be going alongside Route 8. They will be starting to cut some of the hill down that's near the Shell station, probably within a week from now. We've already notified facilities that to get some word out that there could be some traffic delays, and they have a traffic plan that is in place for that.
Okay. There's lots of rumors floating around out there about we're not going to open on time and that we're going to do all that. I have to bring it up, okay?
Sure.
So we can vet that publicly that we're still on time and we're on budget, right?
Yes, we're still on time, on budget. It's challenging, but we're still going to make it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Our next item is approval of new courses. Actually, the board saw these courses at your last meeting. It's a geometry readiness course and an introduction to education for employment. Tonight, these courses are presented for your approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
Board members, discussion.
I just think it's the way to go. I'm really happy. Thank you.
Well, as someone that's worked in business, I'm glad
Yeah.
to see the employee education for employment. It
Way
is
to go.
certainly needed.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it will be well received in the school system.
I'm not especially happy with the geometry readiness because it indicates that we need work to do
That's
in the
right.
middle school and the elementary schools
Yeah.
in math to make sure that that class can be eliminated eventually.
That would be the goal.
That's right.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm glad we're getting it done. We're doing it. I'm very glad. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Your motion carries.
The next item is a resolution for the authorized signers of the MCPS SLRP. And SLRP is your supplemental local retirement plan, which is allowed by the state. And every 3 years, your bank, which in this case happens to be Sun Bank, requests that we do the authorized signers approval. So it's presented this evening since it's a routine action for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item is the VRS member contribution by salary reduction for school divisions. You know, I'm excited to see this item on the agenda because what it means is that we're transferring the last 4% as required by the state from Montgomery County Public Schools to employee salary. The employee then assumes the responsibility for paying that 5%. You transferred 1% in 2012-13 and 4% for 2013-14. So as of this approval of this resolution, which is presented this evening for action, the state will be officially notified that Montgomery County Public Schools has transferred the full 5%.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Hasn't this been a result of an unfunded mandate
Yes.
that
Yeah.
came down to us? And, okay, thank you.
And basically became a shell game because
Exactly.
they get an increase in pay and then you have to pay that back out.
Exactly.
It's,
Yes. At our expense.
At the taxpayer's expense, local taxpayers' expense, because it's an unfunded mandate from Richmond. They've decided that the localities can better fund the retirement program as opposed to the state doing their job and trying to find the money to fund the retirement program, as they have done in the past. So if anybody needs more education on the unfunded mandate, see me.
And
With
I think that needs to be pointed out. I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was going to ask for
Okay.
you to vote.
I think it needs to be pointed out that these are the type of things that need to be funded. They definitely need to be funded. And we've got some people who are looking at central office and other situations, and I'm not sure that's all fair, but anyway, this is something that is a must. And the public always doesn't know that.
and it will come from our budget.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Next item is your calendar for school year 2014-2015. We gathered input from our schools and teaching staff, and it was relatively equally divided between the two calendars, with 10 schools identifying the green calendar as their highest priority. The green calendar has a later August start, and 9 schools selecting the yellow calendar, which ends the first semester prior to the winter break. There were no evident patterns of divisions such as elementary versus secondary or block versus non-block. In some schools, the vote was very close. In some schools, the participation was 50% or less. So I did not make a recommendation to you at the previous meeting, but in the time since then, I ultimately asked myself the question, what is in the best interest of students while not harming the community or the staff? And I came to the conclusion that our senior high school students are most impacted by this decision. It clearly is positive for high school students to complete the semester and leave for winter break without the burden of project assignments, exam review, and returning to face final SOL testing or other exams. Therefore, I'm recommending for your action this evening the yellow calendar for the 2014-2015 school year. I'd like to thank Dr. Graham for chairing that committee, along with able assistance when he arrived from Mr. Macalandro, and they are certainly willing to answer any specific questions that the board may have.
I move that we accept the yellow calendar.
Second.
Discussion on the motion.
Yeah, I've always not liked to start school this early,
I agree.
but also in January, throughout the years, I've watched us struggle with snow and everything else to try to get the kids back in to get tested, and so I believe with like Ms. Blackburn, this would be the best thing for the students.
I'm with you.
Any additional
agree.
discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item is approval of the planned expenditures for the $400,000 for capital that was provided to us above and beyond the regular budget allocation by the Board of Supervisors. The list that's presented to you represents the recommendations from myself and my staff, and comes very close to the total $400,000 in additional funds. The funds came from the county as carry forward, and as you usually approve plans for expenditure of carry forward funds, these are presented for your approval tonight. You previously seen and discussed the recommended projects at your last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
to ask one clarification question for the first item where it says door hardware security improvements. That is security improvement door hardware for all schools?
It's for every school that we've identified that needs that specific work done. Not every school, that some of the newest schools don't have a need, but it is district-wide.
Would Falling Branch fall in that list?
This is not the secure entry process. That's going to be a separate discussion that we have. This is the door hardware that can be chained that would prevent entrance or exit or those kind of things. And there's some recommended better approaches to door hardware, and that's what this item is.
The second item, I just had a thought, the state grant, is not a guarantee that we'll receive that, right?
It is not a guarantee, although it appears that adequate money had been allocated to provide $100,000 for school divisions across the state, but it's not a guarantee.
So that money, if we didn't get the grant, we would bring that money back for a different allocation?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
Did you indicate that this is something that we've done in the past?
The board routinely approves your carry forward, and you approve it by what it's going to be expended for. So this is being presented to you for approval because it is carryover from the supervisors. Follow up to your discussion from last week.
Well, I have great confidence in your decisions, and I looked at this, and I personally don't think it needed to come to this route. I think that it was, that you approving it was enough for me. And I think when we do this, what we're doing right now is two things. Number one, we're saying that you don't need to do the job, we'll do it. And I don't think that's right. I think that this is a superintendent's decision. And I also think that we're getting back into the micromanaging end of this thing, and I just think that's wrong.
You know, I don't want to be here all night. You heard what my comments were about it last time. I don't believe it's micromanaging. I believe it is exactly what we're supposed to be doing as board members as far as approving expenditures of taxpayers' dollars. I agreed and still agree with everything that the superintendent recommended, and that's what it is, a recommendation to the board. So.
And historically, this is how we've done it in the past.
Exactly.
Since I've been on the board for 10 years.
Thank
when
you.
we've had this money sent to us from the Board of Supervisors, when it's any kind of appropriation, we have always brought this forward for approval. We've looked back historically to how we've dealt with carried forward funds, and it's always come to us in this fashion, and we voted on it and discussed it out here. So that's the reason why it's back before the board.
Thank you.
Has nothing to do with micromanagement, has nothing to do with a lack of vote of confidence in the superintendent doing her job. Is simply what we have done historically over the course of time with the appropriation of funds from the Board of Supervisors. And with that, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Not yes, opposed.
Motion carries.
Next item is middle school scheduling. At your request, I placed this topic and the requested information on the agenda as an information item for Tuesday evening. It's presented for your consideration.
Board members, comments, questions on this information that's been presented to this board regarding the middle school scheduling?
Okay. I didn't need any more information. I didn't agree with it when we approved it. I still don't agree with it. And I still agree. I still say that we are turning middle school into high school. As far as PE, it should be mandated. It should not be an elective that kids get to opt in and out of. It is a foundation that we build on, just like math and science and English. So, again, you heard my comments 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to keep going on with it unless you challenge me to have to do that.
I do have a question. I mean, everything revolves around financing too. I'm a strong believer in physical education, but I'm also a strong believer in 8th grade sports. And I'm also a strong believer in athletic directors in the high school. And sad to say, sometimes we have to make choices. As we hear, you know, every Tuesday night, public address, whether it's art, whether it's chorus, whether it's robotics program, whether it's governors, everybody that has a special heart for those programs come and voice it. At what expense, if we take it out, is it going to cost? So if we're looking at the monetary value, what's going to happen if we were to choose not to go this route? What will we lose? That's my kind of where I'm coming from, because it's going to be a loss. And I'm afraid if we don't do this modeling set, that this is something that's been on my mind for 2 weeks. Then are we going to lose another physical educational piece, as far as, like I said, something that I truly believe we also need to gear children after school and in the evenings. That's a very important time. I truly believe we have lots of problems in our schools that draw young adults, and if we don't keep their extracurricular sports after school, we're going to have a bigger problem. So what are we looking at there?
I would comment that ultimately it would come back to the board to decide what you would reduce if you chose to restore the 15 units that are associated with the total change in middle school. But I would also comment that the schedules that are proposed by our middle school are different than what you've had in the past, but they are instructionally sound. They do meet middle school student needs, and they also meet every requirement of the state and of your board policy. The model is different, but it did come from the schools, and it's my considered opinion that it merits an opportunity to demonstrate success. But if the board directed that it be undone, it would come back to you to decide how to return the funds to the budget.
But do we have like a guesstimated
It's
amount?
$909,000 are associated with 15 units. Whether it would take all of those or not just depends. Okay,
Would you repeat
that's
that
the
number?
total value, $909,000.
Just under a million.
I thought I heard that. But
So for me, how do we reschedule so that PE is at the level it was before?
Can I answer that? So I can,
In my opinion, it would be very, very difficult at this late point to reschedule the schools for PE to be exactly what it looked like before. The schools, when the board asked us to move forward and bring you more information about the middle school schedule, we brought you hypothetical models. And the models, because there were no kids in them, a schedule becomes a schedule when you take student choices and put it into the schedule, not until. The models that we brought you were what we thought might come out of the middle schools. And what we thought might come out of the middle schools was a hybrid schedule that included some extended blocks and some singleton classes that were 50 minutes or 55 minutes in length that ran across the whole day. But that's not what came back from our schools. After the schools took the principles of the middle school and applied it to their school, they came back with a 6-period day. The 6-period day has longer instructional periods, but what it does is it moves from kids and teachers participating in 7 classes during a day, or if you're in a block configuration where you can do in one semester what it takes you a whole year to do otherwise. You came away with a 6-period day, which means students have 6 choices as opposed to 7. And it has some positives from a teacher perspective, and it has some positives from a student perspective if you look at it across the whole spectrum of options. Number one, teachers teach 5 of 6. That means their total class load does not go up over what it is right now teaching 5 of 7. If I have 5 class periods and they have 20 kids in each class right now, that means I'm going to teach 100 kids. Next year, if I have 5 class periods and there are 6 in a day and I'm going to teach 5, I'm still going to have 100 kids. If you went to teaching 6 periods out of 7, you would be teaching 120 kids. So that, I think, maintaining the total student contact was one of the drivers in it. So instead of increasing the number of students you see within a day, the 6th period allowed you to teach the same number of kids for a longer period of time. The second thing that I think was powerful, perhaps in the school's decision to look more closely at the block schedule, was that teaching in a block is a different instructional practice for teachers. And you need to, more in a block, more so than in any other style, you have to vary the activities that you have during the instructional period. You cannot stand in front of a group of students for 90 minutes and lecture and expect that they'll be attentive. You're going to have cooperative groups. You're going to have break up your lecture with additional activities and hands-on opportunities for students, and it's a new way of teaching that would be a challenge on top of a new schedule. So putting it back, if you tell me to put it back, I'm going to put it back, but I'm not sure what it's going to look like. Because the schools came back and said, we think the 6-period day is the best way to go. I didn't dictate 6 periods. Nobody dictated 6 periods. We gave them a list of concepts and principles and said, go figure out what the best way to do this at your school is. And they came back with 6 periods. They all have teams, which is middle school. They all have common planning periods during the school day. They all have additional common planning time after the school day, or opportunities for it. They all have built-in time for advisor-advisee, like the Titan time at the Blacksburg Middle School. What is different about it is that in a 2-period time frame, like periods 5 and 6, students are getting 4 options because they are doing A-B schedules. So it maintained the number of electives that kids got to choose from, but it reduced the number of minutes or the number of class periods that the kids had in the electives. My request of the board is that it was approved in concept. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like until you put the kids in it and the teachers and the administration and the curriculum specialists weigh in. Secondly, it is a $900,000 cost savings, although that was not the driver in my recommending it to you. I would still recommend it to you today. I would ask that you give it a chance to be successful. And if you think about the budget study, what the budget study said was, let's try this for 13-14, and then let's study it. If it didn't work, then we go back to the drawing board and do something different. When I proposed that you study it, I proposed you study it in summer of 2014. So what I would say is, let's study it in the 2nd semester. Let's study it starting January 2014 for 6 weeks and say, what were the net pluses, what were the net minuses? And then in your budget planning cycle, if you want to undo it, you have ample opportunity to undo it without creating the need for school principals, counselors, everybody to go undo what they've spent the last 12 weeks doing. So that would be my best answer to what you've asked me, Ms. Franklin. Let us see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll put it back. But we'll put it back in a time frame that allows for planning and appropriate implementation instead of, hara-kiri or whatever we're going to do if I have to go back and undo all those middle school schedules. tomorrow.
But my question then is, who would be involved in that study? To me, that would be very crucial. And secondly, I mean, my instinct, once I learned that we were going to be cutting back on phys ed, for students that really need it, I've had a very difficult time with the change. I really have.
If I were putting together a group to take a look at the schedule, considering all the conversations that have gone on this year, I would put a math teacher, a English teacher, a science teacher, a social studies teacher, a music teacher, an art teacher, let me get that correct, a physical education teacher, the director of secondary programs, and a middle school principal from each of the schools. That's what I would put together to talk about it, because if you want to accomplish something, you have to have a focused enough group to get your arms around. So, you know, I think that we could look at that in the second semester and say whether it was creating major issues in schools or not. And if you looked closely at the models that we provided you, it looks different at every school next year. For example, Christiansburg Middle School decided that they would require PE for grades 6 and 7. And they're going to have help. They're going to spend 20% of the time, just like they do now, in help. And they were going to make the 8th grade the elective. Blacksburg Middle School has AB for 6 and 7, but 8th graders could choose a year-round program if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember all the details off the top of my head, but every single model looked different because it reflected the desire of that individual school. And it was not dictated. You know, some people are saying they didn't hear. Well, you know, sometimes you don't hear until it becomes personally relevant. And I know that you can sit in a faculty meeting, you can sit in a group meeting, you can sit in this audience, and you can hear 25% of what's said because you tune in when it becomes personally relevant. I believe that the models were vetted with our schools. They could not be vetted to the point that you say every single A, B, C, D in a schedule, because you can't do that till you put the kids in it. But that's my answer.
The investigation that I've seen, there's two very positive things that come out of this. One is that, three. One is that each school has tailored their master schedule to fit the school. And to be realistic about it, it's really going to benefit the two smaller of the middle schools. Not that the larger schools aren't going to benefit also, just that the smaller ones benefit a little more from what I've seen. The other thing that I think is really important is that it puts teachers in front of students more. And I think that's really important. I don't see where it's going to hurt kids at all. I wouldn't vote for anything that's going to hurt kids. The positives outweigh any of the negatives that I've seen so far. And I really think these are good programs.
You know, I'm not understanding. I understand the statement. It puts children in front of teachers more often. But what teachers are we talking about? Are we saying some teachers are more important for them to be in front of than others? You know, I have a problem from the very beginning. You know, sure, after the decision was made, you're going to go to a block schedule, then here, do what you need to do with it. My issue is with beforehand, exactly the level of involvement that went on there, exactly the information that came back to us, and how freely that information came back to us. That's why I didn't agree with it to start off with, and I will not agree with it now.
I feel the same way.
This is for information.
Yeah. Any other discussion, comments, questions on this? Couple questions. Increase in the ratios.
There's no increase in PTR, and since each of the four schools decided that they were going to go with the 6-period day, the total student load remains the same as well, because teachers are teaching 5 of 6. Currently, they teach 5 of 7, and teacher load is determined by multiplying the number of periods times the number of teachers in the class. From the beginning, we advised the board that there would be negligible, if any, increase in PTR.
Okay.
As I'm reading down through this, it looked like all of the middle schools pretty much had a 6th and 7th requirement, and basically the elective would be at 8th grade. Am I reading that correctly?
Some of them have AB for 6th and 7th grade PE, which would mean they would have PE 5 days in 10 days, and some of them, like CMS, they have PE every day for 6th and 7th grade. So again, it varies school to school, but every school has physical education for grades 6 and 7. The number of minutes might vary, the number of days per week might vary.
Any additional comments or questions? Okay, bear with me just a second. Are we to the, I'm just trying to get back to the agenda. I apologize. Looking at something. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business by school board members they'd like to bring before the table at this time? Next item is board retreat. We had decided at the last meeting at the board retreat, we would look at a Friday evening, and I believe, did everyone do the doodle poll?
Because of some circumstances, I did not play in, but at this point, I can say that yes to the 19th.
Uh-huh. Was the
I
19th
don't
the
know.
one?
That was the one that
Right.
Ms. Foster could not do that day.
Oh,
But I think.
I thought that one said 6, and I was the only one who
Let me look.
hadn't played in.
Is it coming up?
Yeah, you can.
Well, if those dates don't work, you know, we have our dates in July that are board meeting.
That's the day
board-
I was talking about, July.
Board meeting dates in July. If these
Oh.
Friday evening dates won't work, Dreamer can't do it. So, you know, the last and only alternative, and you know, traditionally that has been the time that we have canceled our dates. Let me see if I can.
We haven't canceled it
The
yet.
2nd and the 16th. You talking about?
I'm assuming that's what you're after, yeah.
July 2nd and July 16th are the two board dates.
So the first meeting, yes, is July 2nd and the 16th, and I would say that the 2nd may be difficult with the
4th of July.
4th of July week. But, you know, we have traditionally not had meetings, but if we need to use those meeting dates in July for a retreat to discuss things around the dais, that's called a retreat, that's another alternative if we can't find a date. You know, the fall of the year is still going to be difficult with all the activities that are be going on with the opening of these schools. So, you know, that's the reason why I'm trying to push this board to think about trying to have this thing in June or July and not extend it into August, if at all possible.
Do you need a motion?
No.
Yeah.
So, what hours were you thinking of? It sounds like the 16th is what you were suggesting.
Well, we traditionally, when we have special meetings, start at 7, but would prefer to start earlier
Much.
if we can do that.
5 o'clock, yeah. I would suggest 5 o'clock with a little bit of something to eat.
It's plenty of advance warning to make arrangements to start on the 16th at 5 o'clock. Questions, comments, concerns?
I'm not going anywhere doing nothing, so I couldn't be here. Work is all I do.
All right. So what I'll do is check with Ms. Foster
Okay.
and see if that date, I'll contact her, see if a date. Let everyone, please go back and double check your calendars to see if Tuesday the 16th, is that correct, Mr. Ivor? Yes, we got the calendar up. Will work as a special meeting for school board retreat, and we'll begin at 5 o'clock, and we'll begin to work on the agenda for that retreat.
Should we maybe put on an agenda somewhere to cancel the regular meeting?
We can do that at the next, on the June, usually we do that in June, at one of the June meetings. So we'll work on the schedule and bring that back before the board. So we can get that out there. We'll try to get that on the next, first meeting in June. Items of new business by school board members. Do we have any items of new business that you want to bring before the board? Okay, hearing none. The next item is announcements and information. Does anybody have any announcements or information?
I have, this couldn't be brought up during the award ceremony, so I'm going to bring it up now. There was a test that was given nationally, and from what I gather, there was tens of thousands of students that took this test. It was called Math Kangaroo. And in Montgomery County, we had Andrew ZHOU, a second grader at Kipps Elementary School, placed 12th in the nation.
What?
We had, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
We had Nevin O'Dowd, a second grader at Harding Elementary, placed 10th in the United States. 10th in the United States and 3rd in the state of Virginia. Dassel Lee, a 4th grader at Kipps Elementary, placed 15th in the United States. Kevin XU from Gilbert Linkus placed 5th in the U.S., 5th in the United States, and 2nd in the state of Virginia. And Gordon Kuhn, an 11th grade from Christiansburg, placed 1st in the state. So I think that's pretty powerful stuff.
Super. All right.
Any other announcements or information?
Yes, I just wanted to thank everyone that works in the music program. I went to the Blacksburg Middle School choirs and the elementary honor choir of the elementary kids that would be going to Blacksburg Middle, and it was fabulous. There are a lot of concerts and other activities that I've not been able to go to because of being out of town throughout the district, but I just want to thank everyone who does all of this for our kids. I mean, it's just awesome. And then I was really touched that the Virginia Tech Student Government Association donated $1,000 to Eastern Montgomery Elementary School. I thought that's just one of the many things that we have going for us. I love the letter,
That was great.
letter from the superintendent. I hope everybody gets to see what's been put together. I think we have Brenda to thank for that as well. God bless you. And it's wonderful. And then this morning, and it's going on throughout all the high schools, I was able to attend Blacksburg High School's scholarship presentation, and of course Joe was there with his, and it was wonderful. Millions of dollars that our kids are getting in scholarships to go on to further their education is just phenomenal, and I appreciate everything that our school system is doing for our young people, the future. I really do.
Any other announcements or information?
I just have a question. The middle school scheduling is information. What happens? Does that come back?
No.
No, we voted.
Okay. Done.
Upcoming school board meetings, the next item is agenda preparation. You see upcoming school board meetings, the 4th, you see the agenda, and that we do have the consideration for the July meetings on that agenda. You see the 18th, and we have a couple of items on that agenda as well. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now adjourned.
You're supposed to take